Yo, what's up? What's up? It's your boy Domuto. We back with another video. Today we are watching the Geek for Fun. What if Goku was in DC Part 8? Alright, I've been kind of holding this one off because this is 50 minutes long. So, for all people that probably been waiting on this reaction, I don't know if people are waiting on this one. I don't know. But, I took a shot of water. Anyway, people that wait on this reaction, 50 minutes long, I'm sorry. And I think the further we go down, the videos are pretty long, so it's gonna just be one part here and there because, 50 minutes. Anyway, but yeah, let's get into it, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe.
After long months of travel, the crew of Hawkgirl, Larfleeze, and Martian Manhunter had finally found another strong reading of emotional energy. This time, from the planet Zamaron. The trio had managed to form a strange kinship during their journey, as even Larfleeze's bizarre quirks began to be some needed form of levity in the cold darkness of space travel. The Martian and the Thanagarian had begun to feel a deeper connection, one that frightened them both. And after a foolish embrace of passion, following Jaon's amazing feat in securing the compassion entity, Kendra found herself struggling to talk to her friend. She hoped that once this mission was over, she could leave the League, knowing full well the dangers of having such a close relationship in their line of work. It would be far easier than confronting what she was feeling. However, the Martian Manhunter did not need to read her mind to know what she was thinking.
Kendra, I feel it is unwise to proceed further without addressing what you're feeling. These are beings of emotion. If we aren't prepared...
Jean, let's not get into this right now, okay? I'm fine, I've got this.
As they entered the planet's atmosphere, their field of vision was engulfed in a sudden violet light that tore through their ship's shields like paper.
Get behind me!
The ship smashed into the surface of the alien world, erupting into a ball of flame. Approaching the wreckage was the champion of Zamaron, Carol Ferris, lover of the late Hal Jordan. She was Star Sapphire. Out from the flames flew Hawkgirl, carrying an injured John. He had shielded her from the blast by shaping his body around her, but the combination of such power, fire, and his own weakened state from suppressing an entity had left the powerful Leaguer helpless. Hawkgirl held her savior, keeping him close with one arm and readying her mace in her other. She had only heard of the Star Sapphire through reputation and Hal's own stories, but nothing suggested she would be hostile towards them. Upon closer inspection, Hawkgirl realized what had caused the attack. Star Sapphire was looking at her with hatred through her tears, a look of grief. She blamed the League for the death of Hal Jordan and refused to let them take anything else from her. Even the Zamarons themselves seemed to be fearful around their grief-stricken champion.
We're trying to save Hal, you psycho! Just stand down and listen to what we have to say.
Her pleas fell on deaf ears, as the corrupting power of the Star Sapphire had amplified Carol's unstable state beyond any hope of reasoning. Hawkgirl knew she didn't have a chance against such a powerful foe, but refused to let John die in her arms, preparing one last stand as Star Sapphire fired an energy blast towards them.
You broke my ship!
An army of orange warriors intercepted the blast, defended the two Leaguers, and then swarmed Star Sapphire, Larfleeze unleashing his full power in retaliation against the shot Carol Ferris.
You destroyed my stuff!
Larfleeze's minions smashed through Carol's defense and sent her hurtling through the atmosphere, the Saiyans among them staring up at the moon of Zamaron, becoming a legion of orange Uzarus. Star Sapphire began to draw upon more and more of the Sapphire's power in response, and managed to put up a decent challenge for a brief time, yet none in the universe could truly last long against the overwhelming might of Agent Orange.
You hurt my acquaintances!
Carol blasted through a mountaintop and directly into the sanctuary of the Zamarons. The beings turned in shock as a surge of violet light erupted into the sky. Carol, who had barely been able to contain it, now completely gave into the predator entity itself and was overwhelmed with power. With a blast from her hand, she wiped out a squadron of Larfleeze's forces, leading the Orange Lantern to be pushed onto the back foot, using his own entity to fire back with as much force as he could muster. Hawkgirl was in awe as orange and violet light clashed in the sky, shaking the planet itself and threatening to tear it in two. She didn't know what to do. She didn't trust that she could even do anything. And without a ship to get home, what would be the point in even trying? Doubt filled her mind, but she caught it and crushed it beneath her mental heel. Hawkgirl would not let everything they had done till now go down in vain. She flew towards the beam struggle, her mace in hand, and with one last look towards John, dove into the clashing powers head first. Her nth metal wings began to glow, harnessing the power around her, diverting as much as it could. Her mace struck against the Star Sapphire's blast, carving her way into the beam. Her body was breaking apart, and the shocked Larfleeze only just noticed what was happening.
Fool! I don't need help! You'll die, and I'll lose a limited edition companion!
No! I can tip the balance to your favor. Just keep firing. Then when she's gone, take the entity yourself.
Larfleeze was taken aback at this selflessness, but decided that getting another entity would be desirable, so continued to fire, his beam managing to overtake the Star Sapphire with every swing Hawkgirl struck from within the struggle. Kendra felt herself beginning to fade, her wings slowly being crushed between the two powers. But maybe she'd done just enough to make things right.
Kendra! Kendra!
Jean?
The Manhunter summoned what little strength he had left to mentally connect with Hawkgirl.
You don't need to sacrifice yourself.
I have to. Of course I have to. This is a single action that can bring back everyone we lost. I've sacrificed many lives to causes less noble than this.
Then, I would like to show you something.
Aww.
The mindscape was transformed as Kendra
Fuck
found
is Martian-
herself
what's up
in
with
what
that
looked
picture of
like a
Martian
vision
Manhunter?
of
What the fuck,
paradise.
Chad?
Pyramids,
Nigga like
grand
Seal.
cities, places she remembered from all her lives.
This is a psychic world, a construct I built that will give you some peace. It's made out of your favorite places from all your lives.
Looking like handsome Squidward.
I've been building
nigga.
it for the last few weeks from pieces
That
of your
nigga
dreams.
crazy.
I'd wanted to take you here as a gift, but if you must do
This
this,
shit loud.
I can make sure your final moments aren't spent in pain.
Jean.
I'm sorry. Did I overstep somehow? I don't want to.
Hawkgirl pulled the Martian into a kiss, taking the moment as the two held each
Oh,
other
that's a real picture?
in
Oh,
a timeless mindscape. In reality, this development had caused a chance, as the entity powering Star Sapphire abandoned its host, finding a pure, powerful source of love right in front of it, one that had not been soured in mourning. The being entered Hawkgirl's body, and she began to glow in a vibrant display of light, her wings glowing violet and ending the conflict in a deciding burst of energy. The empowered Hawkgirl caught the now unconscious Carol, bringing her to the Zamarons, who seemed to have finally found a true champion. Galaxies away, Carl Rayner and Batman stood watch over an injured Kakarot. All of them were exhausted, but the Saiyan had been brought the lowest by the being that had been hunting them. A few days after saving Batman from Parallax, Kakarot was struck from the shadows by a gigantic figure, who then disappeared before a fight could even begin.
Oh, damn.
These strikes consisted of midnight ambushes, ensuring no access to food and water, all designed to weaken and scare the heroes, or in this case, the prey of Rogol Zar.
Can you move?
Yeah, no problem.
Whoa, hold on. You can't be serious. He can barely stand. Let him rest. I'm gonna find us a way off this planet. We can do more than just survive.
If Kakarot says he can move.
Kakarot struggled to his feet. The injuries from the latest confrontation with their pursuer were only a few hours fresh, and they had got him harder than he realized. But with an effort that would have killed most warriors, the Saiyan got to his feet with a gentle smile.
Okay.
Then we need to focus on keeping up.
Batman too was exhausted. While Kakarot had been defending on the physical front, Bruce was fighting a mental war against Parallax, forcing the entity down, trying not to be overwhelmed again. The trio traveled deeper into the undergrowth, Batman guiding them through the maze-like forest, keeping them safe from any spots he saw as potential pitfalls. Bruce had faced many opponents who tried to break him, to hunt him, but he had never seen an alien being with enough power to stand toe-to-toe with Kakarot utilize such in-depth strategy. And all they knew was his name, proudly declared during his first attack when he vowed that Kakarot would be the last of the Saiyan bloodline.
Oh, damn.
Kakarot, in his wrath form, was more powerful than Zar. Even Vegeta back on Earth boasted more raw strength, but his level of combat skill and arsenal of tools seemingly designed to combat, counter, and kill Saiyans left Kakarot at his mercy. Batman was growing frustrated with himself. His own insecurities were what had let them get stuck in this situation, and he wasn't even good enough to think of a way out of it.
Hey, don't let it worry you, okay?
I still need to apologize for everything I said.
That wasn't you. We've been over this. And anyway, I think I needed to hear some of that.
You're even more positive than Dick was. Maybe that's why Joker hates you both.
We're gonna bring him back, Bruce. I promise. I'll beat this guy.
Batman finally shared a smile with his friend, helping the Saiyan walk arm in arm. Kyle turned at the two heroes, glad to see that even the stone wall of Batman did have a heart.
Look out!
Kyle tried to warn his friends in shock as Rogol Zar stood towering behind the seemingly unaware Leaguers. Batman and Kakarot were already well aware, the two martial arts masters turning in a split second. Batman to leap away, firing out what looked like corrosive acid pellets towards Zar's eyes, while Kakarot launched a spinning kick towards his face, which the hunter grabbed, swinging Kakarot in front of his face to block the acid. Batman, however, was not so simple, and the pellets began to shine with a small light, revealing themselves to be in fact remote controlled, zipping around Kakarot's body and into the scar tissue of Zar's face.
Ha! You shouldn't underestimate my friend's toys.
Kakarot powered up into his wrath state to break Rogol's hold and began to execute a combination attack against the warrior. Meanwhile, on Earth, the battle was being watched by the prisoner Vegeta and his watchful guard, Wonder Woman. She had grown worried given the long period of time the League had been out in space, and so was using the magic mirror to monitor the events for herself. The sight of her friends in such peril frustrated her, wishing she could be there to help, while Vegeta was filled with rage at the sight of Rogol Zar. The killer of his race was in front of his own eyes, and yet he could not face him.
Kakarot truly is an embarrassment. This time Zar won't let him run.
Let him? I seem to remember Kakarot's form besting you in combat.
You've never hunted for sport. Zar's been waiting till the chance of failure has been brought to zero. He can tell the clown's used up everything he had. He'll be going in for the kill soon. As for that wrathful state, it impressed me during our battle, but now its failings are all too clear. Kakarot should be realizing that himself right now.
Wonder Woman could tell Vegeta's words were not arrogant boasts. The Saiyan was speaking the truth.
Yep.
Please, find a way to win.
Rogol Zar had the
You
Saiyan
said in my
under
ear,
his
I'm gonna find a way to
boot
win,
heel.
Wonder Woman.
The short exchange ending like all the others before it. Kakarot was feeling it now. The mistake of this form. What Shiva had warned him about. It granted him incredible power, but the rage was too animalistic to ever properly merge with his fighting style. Every time he used it, Rogol Zar was able to find openings in his guard. Sloppy, wild punches missed their target, and he fell for traps and gadgets far more easily than he would have in his base form. Yet, without the Wrath's power, Kakarot was too weak to fight Rogol Zar at all. The being's strength required the Wrath form, yet his skills meant he could not be beaten by a mindless, wild fighter. Batman jumped onto Zar's back, planting mines designed to injure metahumans before leaping away and detonating them. Zar, however, was unfazed and prepared his spear to finish off Kakarot.
You have lasted longer than any Saiyan before you, and you have fought to protect. For this, I will spare your comrades. With this act, my people will finally be avenged.
Before he could end it, Zar felt the tiniest sensation of a fist against his chest. A small, insignificant human was trying to attack him. Carl Rayner, refusing to give up when everyone else had. Zar pushed him aside, but once again, the human got up and charged him.
Okay.
Unable to
Carl.
do anything to the being, but giving everything he had. He tried to grab Zar's spear, his hands bleeding, attempting to snap the raw edge. Zar smacked him aside once again, breaking the young man's arm this time. But again, Kyle stood up. Batman and Kakarot told Kyle to run, to get away while he could. But Kyle stood firm over Kakarot, staring directly at the hunter.
Why do you defend a being whose people have brought nothing but death?
Because it's my job. I'm a Green Lantern, so if you're going to get to him, you're going to have to go through me.
Acceptable.
The spear shot towards Kyle. Kakarot screamed, trying to get out of Zar's hold in time. Batman ran to try and save them both, while Kyle closed his eyes, remembering the words Gantfit had told him to never forget.
In brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power. Green Lantern's light.
If he was going to die, he would die fighting, no matter the odds. He threw a punch, and it connected. But this time, Rogol Zar was sent flying as Kyle hit the center of his chest, the punch echoing throughout the forest.
Okay.
Kyle opened his eyes, glowing with the power of iron.
How? I don't understand.
Batman approached the confused Lantern, explaining that the entity had entered his body as he threw the punch. The presence of Parallax and Kyle's own strong will must have attracted the entity to the planet while they were being hunted.
You just made a miracle happen, Kyle.
That was incredible! You got the first solid hit on him I've seen! Way to go!
Kakarot excitedly smacked the nervous Kyle on the back, his own injuries being ignored, as with the help of Kyle, they could tip the balance against Zar. Then, to add to the growing confusion, a trio appeared in a flash of violet light. Larfleeze, Martian Manhunter, and Hawkgirl had used the power of the love entity to teleport to the other group. Hawkgirl collapsing to her knees from using all of her power to do so.
Damn.
Kakarot and Kyle turned in shock, having been reunited with their friends rather suddenly.
Huh? Oh, hey guys! How did you do that?
The power of the love entity. let you teleport to a person you love.
But then who?
My Saiyan! You're damaged! Who did this to you? Are you okay? Do you need something to eat?
Larfleeze ran and picked up Kakarot, coddling him like an injured puppy, finally reunited with his precious Saiyan.
Yee! I'm really conflicted on how to feel right now.
I've scanned your memories to be informed of the situation. This foe is like nothing I've seen before.
We should have the advantage now, but I doubt he's going to go easy. The priority is protecting Kendra. She's our only way off this planet without either of our ships.
Rogolzar shook the damage from the surprise attack off, pressing a device on his wrist that began to shift the landscape around the heroes. What were once mountains in the distance began to melt and be reformed into hundreds of silver spears sent hurtling towards them. These were no real threat, so long as they could keep on guard. But Rogolzar used it as a distraction to dash in between them all, knocking them away with a single swing of his spear. Everyone but Kyle was exhausted from their prior experiences, so the lantern took charge, trying to match Rogolzar head on. However, a blast of yellow struck him from behind, separating Kyle from the rest of the group.
I didn't expect things to get this interesting. Shall we divide and conquer, old friend?
Rogolzar nodded. Given the greater numbers, he would have to forgo his code of honor should the Saiyans' allies continue to interfere. To Rogolzar, nothing else mattered anymore. He was so close. He had to fulfill it, fulfill the purpose he was created for, and achieve revenge.
Batman, Kyle's gonna need you.
Batman was taken aback by Kakarot taking charge, but immediately understood what the Saiyan meant, leaving the group battling Rogolzar to go follow where Kyle was now dueling Sinestro. With the cosmic force of Ion, Kyle was now far superior to Sinestro in raw power, yet the bout was still fairly even, as Sinestro's greater experience using a power ring allowed him to run circles around Kyle's attempts, the young lantern having the added handicap of Ion's power feeling overwhelming to control and aim effectively.
Look at you. Failing all over again, are we? Jordan would have never struggled to wield Ion's power.
Shut the fuck up about Jordan,
Even
nigga.
now, defeating you will be too easy, alley rat. To make things more interesting, I won't even move from this spot.
Oh, hell no.
Shut up!
The lantern
Don't
was
play like
faltering,
that, Kyle.
with Sinestro's mind games throwing him off more and more, until he began to overtake Kyle.
Kyle, stop trying to rationalize it.
What?
You're thinking about defeat, about failing, about losing control. Stop. Take a breath. Empty your mind and just create.
Sinestro blasted Batman away, the Caped Crusader jumping just in time to avoid taking lethal damage. Kyle, however, had been given just the time he needed. With one hand emerged a giant green bat, and the other a green dragon of pure power. He wasn't thinking of creating anything specifically. He just let his imagination guide him, fueled by Ion's cosmic might.
Now, make him afraid.
The constructs tripled in size as Kyle smiled. Their charging jaws engulfed Sinestro's attempts to fight back, hitting the fallen lantern as he was overwhelmed and blasted away from the planet.
This boy, he's not just using will.
Sinestro was beaten, his ring being the only thing that allowed him to flee safely. Kyle's power faded, having exhausted himself to control the power of Ion. He looked up into the sky as a small green object dropped from where Sinestro had been hit. Hal's ring was now back in Kyle's hands. On the other battlefield, Rogolzar was making short work of the League. They were simply too exhausted to put up a real fight, with even Larfleeze being systematically taken down by a ferocious assault from the Hunter. Martian Manhunter tried to attack his mind, but Rogolzar invited him in, letting the psychic fall into a trap specifically made within his mind from specialized training. John was now stuck inside a box within a box within a box, infinitely, all on fire, until Zar smashed his face into the floor in reality. Hawkgirl smacked her mace against the monster's jaw, dealing some damage, but before she could follow up, Rogol Zar launched a specialized magnetic light device from his belt that caused her wings to be smashed into each other, followed by devastating electric shocks. The hunter turned to Kakarot, his only real priority in this battle, but the Saiyan disappeared in a red and gold streak, leading Zar to be confused as a trident struck him in his missing eye.
Fall, monster!
After their adventure with Broly, Mera and Flash had used their ship to follow the last known location of Batman's crew, arriving just in the nick of time, with the Butcher inside Mera being drawn to the planet now that nearly all of the entities were assembled in one place.
You don't look so good, buddy. We'll take it from here, okay?
No! Don't underestimate him!
Before Kakarot could finish, Flash was already beginning to attack Rogol Zar alongside Mera, her powerful blows and hydrokinesis doing the majority of the damage, while Flash upset his footing and pestered him with rapid assaults.
To think a Saiyan could attract so many pests. Protocol, speedsters.
On cue, the floor beneath Flash
don't
opened
take
up,
that, nigga.
revealing it to be the same silver liquid metal as the mountains from before. The falling Flash caught in the tendrils and unable to move.
Flash.
The distracted Mera was quickly struck with a small device placed onto her face that began to prevent her brain from sending signals to the rest of her body. Rogol Zar struck her in the back of the head and left her helpless on the ground, taking a moment to activate another protocol on his wrist that sent a legion of spikes beneath the ground that skewered Mera's ship. Now, there was no way for anyone to escape.
Come on! I've got to try something!
Kakarot had no key left, but tried to form a chaos cannon, placing his hands in front of him. His friends were dying to protect him, but they had all brought an entity with them. They had done the impossible. Each and every one of them. He knew they could do it, and he knew they could win this. Rogol Zar began to walk towards the Saiyan, knowing that he was no threat now. But to his surprise, a small blue light began to flicker in Kakarot's hands. It slowly grew in size, growing larger and more intense. The Saiyan was amazed, as this power didn't seem to be his own. It continued to grow, the weight of the power being too much to hold in front of him. So he raised it up above his head, his arms stretching to the sky as the ball of light expanded exponentially. From within the orb, a bird-like silhouette could be seen as the power began to flow into Kakarot himself, his tattered orange costume turning into a glowing blue.
I am the hope of the universe. All will be well.
The Hope entity, Adara, had responded to the gathering of its own kind and lent its power to Kakarot, who proceeded to fire the orb of spiritual energy directly at Rogol Zar, exploding like a bomb onto the confused hunter.
Come on, come on!
The Flash had managed to phase through his bindings and went as fast as he could to get every single member of the League away from the blast zone. A crater that seemed to go into the center of the planet was all that was left. The beaten League assembled together at last, finally possessing all of the entities.
We actually did it. It seems all our sacrifices have not been in vain, my friend.
So, now what? Is something supposed to happen?
No. He's still alive!
Damn.
Everyone turned to Kakarot, the exhausted Saiyan barely standing after being overwhelmed by Adara's might.
Here we go.
Yet, he still had enough strength to sense Rogol Zar slowly climbing out of the crater, bit by bit. They didn't have much time until he made it to them again, and now they knew there'd be no more miracles. Everyone had spent what they had. There was nothing left to give.
Kendra, do you think you could teleport us to Earth?
I don't know. Not by myself, anyway. We need a source of love to make it work.
That part's easy. Linda's always been my lightning rod. Kendra, your wings can harness energy, right? I can give them a Speed Force charge lickety-split. What about you, Longface?
Fine, but only to ensure easy delivery of my new stuff.
They all harnessed their power around Kendra, Ja'on holding her hand tight, giving her the confidence to take a risk this big. The Predator roared, and just like that, a portal to Earth opened up in front of the group.
The portal is going to stay open without your control, correct?
For a couple minutes, yeah, but... Oh, God.
He will follow us to Earth.
Rogolzar was getting closer to escaping his
Hurry
crater.
up, nigga.
The impacts of his hands smashing into rock were now sounding like localized earthquakes.
Don't worry. I just need to stay and hold him off until it closes.
Everyone turned in shock to Kakarot. The suggestion turning what was to be their moment of triumph into the worst thing they could imagine.
Don't be stupid. We can just fight and beat him on Earth.
The kid's right. Kakarot, your home is with us. We won't leave you.
Kakarot smiled at the group, glad that he got to meet friends like this.
This all started because the Saiyans followed me to Earth. I ain't gonna risk anyone else dying because of a threat that only wants me.
But, Kakarot...
He said what needs to happen. We've done the impossible. We do this, and we can...
Alright, Batman. Hey, I was lying.
There isn't an argument here.
Let it go. I was capping. Get Batman. I was capping. What we doing? Right.
Batman's words struck the group hard, but they knew he was right. Each of them said their goodbyes to Kakarot.
Why you got a different Martian
Any
Manhunter every
doubt
time we
of
see him on
him
a fucking
being a
screen?
hero
God damn.
was completely wiped from their minds as they each stepped into the portal, leaving a friend behind.
If you get out of this, Warworld isn't that far from here, okay? There's a friend waiting there, if you need one.
With Flash entering the portal, now only Batman, Kyle, and Kakarot remained. The young Lantern refusing to leave the person who had let him grow so much behind.
This isn't right. I have all this power now. I refuse to let you do this on your own. You can't die. There's still so much I need to learn.
Kakarot put his hand on Kyle's shoulder, a blue light passing from inside him into the lantern. Kyle now was controlling both the will and hope entity.
What just...
Thought so. You're one of a kind, Kyle. For some reason, you can harness the emotions better than anyone else. Take that home, and let everyone know I'm sorry. I have nothing left to teach you.
Aww.
It's time to go, Kyle.
This is what you wanted all along, right? Now you won't have to worry about him messing up anymore, even after everything he's done to help. You're right, okay? I'm just a dumb rookie.
Batman took a moment before removing his cowl. Bruce Wayne stared at Kyle Rayner with the most vulnerable look the young Lantern had ever seen.
I've made a lot of mistakes. More than I care to list.
Oh shit, not the
I've
mask
gotten
removal.
the people closest to me hurt and killed. So I know just how important it is to never settle for anything but your best. With what we do, if you're not prepared, you can lose everything. I've held Kakarot to that standard, and I'm holding you to it, because I know you can surpass it. You're no Hal Jordan. Stop trying to be. Be better. Be the best Green Lantern I've ever met. Be Kyle Rayner.
With a sudden movement, Batman slammed his palm into Kyle's chest, pushing the lantern into the portal and passing on Parallax.
And don't forget who taught you how to use fear.
Batman looked solemnly as Kyle vanished, saying a final goodbye to the family he was leaving behind on Earth, before putting his cowl back on.
You staying to fight with me, huh?
Someone's got to make sure you don't mess up.
The two martial artists smiled at each other, both glad that if this was their final stand, it would be alongside a river. Rogolzar emerged from the pit, eyes narrowed on Kakarot, and relieved he decided to fight. In a gesture of honor, he threw away his devices, carrying only his trusted spear.
Okay.
No more tricks.
Okay, straight
Bruce
hand.
took off his cape, shirt, and his empty utility belt.
Batman trying to get
throwing them
serious.
into the portal.
No more tricks.
Heh, now this is a real fight!
Kakarot and Rogolzar charged towards each other, entering an exchange of blows. Kakarot was no longer using his wrath form, deciding that his best chance was to rely on his original training. The two continued to battle, with Rogolzar still having more reserves, despite the damage he'd taken. He'd managed to subvert Kakarot's desperate blows, grabbing the Saiyan in a headlock poised to snap his neck. Batman was ready and seized his moment, using his gauntlet to surprise Zar with a potent strain of fear gas, supercharged to take out Metas.
Do you have no honor?
I cheat.
Kakarot broke free from the hold and began to attack the stunned Tsar.
Shut up,
But
nigga.
the
You use
hunter was
tricks all
no
day.
stranger to chemical warfare and stabbed his own hand with his weapon
Alright,
to
nigga
snap
turned to
himself
Naruto.
back to reality. This act took Kakarot by surprise, and Rogolzar struck, ready to end this battle with one final spear thrust. The weapon did draw blood, and Kakarot looked up in horror as Batman had taken the hit for him, impaling the Dark Knight
Here we go. Here we go.
in the heart.
Here we go.
Bruce took one last look to the stunned Kakarot, as if this had been his real plan all along, before the light faded from the world's greatest detective. Rogolzar spat to the side, ashamed that his noble weapon had been used on such an honorless earthling, allowing the body of Batman to fall to the ground. The image of Batman falling hurt Diana no less, even though it was through a magic mirror. She had held off meeting the other Justice Leaguers till the end of this battle, but now she couldn't bear to watch as one of her closest friends had just
Damn.
died.
Now my
and
nigga
the
Bruce.
other was surely soon
Bruce
to follow.
Wayne.
Refusing to witness another execution, she left to meet her friends that still remained. Vegeta, however, stared intently. Watching Zar toy with Kakarot and Batman was giving him flashbacks to Tarbell, and despite their rivalry, Vegeta was sickened at the thought of Zar taking another Saiyan life. He looked on in silence as the killer of the Saiyan race stepped forward. Kakarot was trembling uncontrollably, completely and utterly stunned. He couldn't feel anything throughout his whole body, either pain or numbness. The world shattered before his eyes as the lifeless body of something precious was thrown to the ground like trash. He was alone. Then, there was a spark.
Damn. That nigga saying Batman Krillin.
Twitch. A small kindle of rage in the darkest.
I wonder who's gonna die.
loneliest
I'll
corner
wait
of
for him.
himself.
I'll wait for it.
Kakarot's eyes became glossy. His head snapped back and then down again, as if he was fighting to hold something back.
You ruthless, heartless bastard!
The aura around him was thick and destructive, his mind still swirling in the rage of an uncontrolled storm. He had been holding on to an idea of mercy his entire life. So, he let go.
Yes, sir.
What?
That's fire. Fire animation. Fire animation. Fire.
He appeared directly next to Rogolzar's face.
You killed a good man because you wanted to get to me. How many more would you kill? How many of my friends would die until you stopped?
Rogolzar was panicking. The idea in his head of what was happening was too frightening to be believed. But one thing grounded him. One thing kept him focused. His mission was absolute.
As many as it would take to see you Saiyans dead.
Kakarot's muscles swelled, his power responding to Zar's remark.
Then no more. Let's end this. Right here. Right now!
That exchange would be the last of the battle to be viewed by another, as Vegeta, furious at what he had just witnessed, destroyed the mirror.
It is real. He's done it.
Yes, sir.
After all these years, the legendary Super Saiyan has come, and it's not me.
Now truly
low-class
alone,
warrior.
the Golden Warrior cracked his fist against the side of Rogolzar's face, launching the behemoth like a ragdoll, before appearing in front of the flying titan in an instant, kicking him directly into the sky, then slamming him back down with methodical ferocity. Zar emerged, new scars now added to his weathered body. There was no doubt about it. This was the legend come true.
The Super Saiyan finally stands before me. My entire life has led to this.
Rogolzar ripped off his shirt, revealing markings from a race of people thought long dead.
On the blood of the Tuffles.
Now he was the Tuffles. Ooh, okay.
Semites, I swear I will kill you, Saiyan!
A primal part of himself told Kakarot that Rogolzar's words were true, that he was now a Super Saiyan. What that meant didn't matter. All he wanted was for this enemy to suffer. Charging instantly, faster than Rogol could react to, Kakarot reached his opponent with a right punch, but it was a fake. As Rogol tried to block, Kakarot flipped to one side with terrific speed. The hunter's swings passed through empty air. Kakarot's comparably smaller size made him an impossible target now that he was so fast. Dodging these punches was child's play. They continued to battle
Finish
for what
him.
seemed like forever to Rogolzar, the damage piling up as it became increasingly clear how outmatched he was. He was desperate to try anything. Noticing how his opponent was hovering a few inches off the ground, Rogol suddenly adapted his form, using his long arms to build up momentum as he spun in for a series of attacks which was surprisingly well executed for his bulk. The second came in, a devastating uppercut, yet still, Kakarot stood. Then, with the third strike from Zar's massive arm heading straight for him, Kakarot let it smack him across the face.
Heh. Sorry. Even I'm surprised at how strong I am now. You said you were going to kill me?
You dare mock me! After everything your people
Finish him off,
did,
Goku.
I was created to avenge the Tuffles. Yet you act innocent of your people's crimes.
That's why they were destroyed. All things need balance. My masters taught me that. It's why I'm here now, to destroy you!
Kakarot cupped his hands together, preparing to charge a Chaos Cannon. Rogolzar was no fool. He knew that this was the end.
If it is to come down to being killed by you, I would rather choose death by my own hand.
Whichever you like.
Rogolzar took his spear, and with a secret, final, solemn vow, impaled his own heart. The slayer of the
You a
same
hoe.
race was no more.
Come get killed by Goku.
Kakarot was surprised to see him go through with the act, looking at the fallen hunter with a hint of regret. With the target of his rage no more, his senses returned to him, and he felt it was a shame to see someone so powerful, so strategically wise, so skilled, die in such a senseless way.
Very.
One thing took his notice, as Rogolzar's discarded wrist device began to glow wildly, the screen flashing a fail-safe warning. Unsure what this could mean, Kakarot was completely shocked when the planet itself started to break apart, giant pillars of flame emerging from below. Zar had made this a no-win scenario. The moment his heart stopped beating, he had made it so the planet itself was rigged to explode. The trap truly was perfect. Kakarot screamed in frustration, as despite achieving the power of legend, he was still trapped on this doomed planet.
I have to try it, but I don't even know if I could. Damn it, there's no time!
The Super Saiyan's aura flared in one desperate chance as the planet exploded in a brilliant flash of light.
What the fuck you do?
On Earth, a similar flash of light heralded the return of the heroes. During Kakarot's battle, they had travelled from Central City to where Coast City once stood.
Now, what must we do to summon the life entity?
I don't know. Honestly, I'm surprised it didn't just show up the moment they were all brought together.
Wonder Woman arrived on the scene, and after a heartfelt reunion, they explained the situation to her.
So you currently hold 3 entities within you, correct?
Yeah, it actually doesn't feel that different from just the one.
The other Justice Leaguers looked at him in shock at this revelation, as each of them had barely managed to hold their own.
Then perhaps that is the key. These beings have not truly been brought together. To create life, they must need to be channeled through a single soul. You.
One by one, the Leaguers passed their entities into Kyle, except for Larfleeze, who required some convincing, and a promise that it would eventually be returned. Kyle tried to harness the powers within him now, expecting something to happen. Anything. But nothing did. Before all this, Kyle might have asked for more advice, for more help, but he remembered Kakarot's last words to him, that there was nothing left for him to learn. Both he and Bruce had put their trust in him, so he had to do this. If the life entity would not be summoned, he would do it himself.
Okay.
Kyle followed both teachings of his 2 masters, emptied his mind, and just created, closing his fist, pouring all his energy into a single point. He opened it and created a white ring. He took off Hal's ring, for it had always been Hal's ring, and put on his own, becoming the first ever White Lantern.
Okay.
Live.
In a sudden burst of blinding white energy, everyone that had died in the attack of the Saiyans was brought back in an instant. Civilians, heroes, and even the 2 Saiyans.
Okay.
Raditz and Nappa. Hal, being the closest to where the heroes were standing, was the first to have the events of the past few months detailed to him.
So, I guess you're the one to thank for all of this. Let's do this right.
Hal extended his hand to Kyle, who responded not as a rookie, but as an equal, slipping the ring back to its original owner as they shook.
Hal Jordan.
Kyle Rayner.
Thanks.
Thanks for loaning that to me.
As the resurrected began to embrace and celebrate, reporters quickly gathered on the scene, with Wonder Woman
Where'd
addressing
go,
them.
Kakarot?
I know you're all confused. How could this have happened? The Justice League recently embarked on an odyssey and did the impossible. But this was not without great cost. The heroes Batman and Kakarot Kent sacrificed their lives to make this happen, and we owe them more than we can possibly repay. The only way to make this right is to take this chance to follow in their example, to live as they did, to have the will to better themselves, to strike out with righteous fury and not hated injustices in the world around them. To know that any challenge, no matter how frightful, can be overcome with love and compassion. Even our most selfish desires can be directed with the hope of bettering ourselves. Their example, a life worth living.
Okay.
Do you think he's really dead?
Well, if he is, Metropolis is going to need a new hero. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, Father.
I'm getting out of here. I'm getting out of here. Alright. I'm getting out of here. Alright. Shout out. Shout out. Alright. Shout out to the Geek for Fun. That last part got low key irked me. I ain't gonna lie. I know what it is, but like this. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. That was a good ass chapter. Great video. Man, I can't wait to see the next part. Make sure y'all check out the last chapter right here. Check out another video right here, and man, I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.